Have you ever noticed that people around you looks like zombies? It's like everyone in the world doesn't have enough energy. The reason is chronic fatigue syndrome. It's a condition in which you experience physical and mental fatigue. The reason is that the brain is not constant tension. It wants to rest, so it puts a taboo on any action. Because of this, all falls out of hand and nothing works. Disturbance of circadian rhythms, lack of physical activity, and inability to rest are the main causes of this disease. What is this nonsense? I know how to rest. I come home from college and play computer games, and then watch TikTok lying on the couch. I know how to rest, don't I? This is exactly an example of improper rest. At this point, we have a release of endorphin and dopamine in our bodies. We get a strong emotional surge. Fatigue masks itself behind this feeling, and instead of resting, we get even more tired. Our brain gets more stressed, and after this state of pleasure passes, we feel overwhelmed. Our general condition worsens, and the fatigue we wanted to get rid of only gets worse. If you just want to relax and watching something, then yes, why not? Especially if you do it rarely. But it's not resting, but just leisure. And if you want to restore the strength of the body and feel invigorated, to relieve the stress of the day, to give your eyes and brain a rest, then watching something is not a rest. It's one of the things you shouldn't do. Work is work, and rest is rest. They are two completely different things. Work, for example study, is a set of activities that includes of the analysis and processing of information, activation of different areas of the brain responsible for learning and long-term memory, and there is a general load on the brain. Rest is the absence of work. During the usual rest, we do the same work, perhaps even more, especially when watching TikTok. We just pour a ton of information, and even if it does not make any sense in itself. A funny video or a picture of a cat, we're reading the information and analyzing it. And the brain is just as busy as it was. Our ancestors did have not such a problem as chronic fatigue. Theirs was only normal physical fatigue. A man worked hard during the day in the field, then came home and slept. He got up full of energy. So, to understand how to fight chronic fatigue, you need to understand what has changed since this time. Before electrification, we fall asleep at night and slept for 1.5 hours more. Also, as the sun went down, our blood levels of melatonin, the sleep hormone, went up and the body relaxed. Now, 70% of people, when they go to bed, do it with a smartphone in their hands, and the blue light from the gadget is perceived by the brain as sunlight and tells us that it is daytime and now not time to sleep. This is one of the reasons why we do not get a deep phase of sleep, and it is during this phase the main recovery of the whole body occurs after the day. So, a few hours before sleep, try to not use the phone. If giving up your phone before bed is difficult for you, then watch my video on how to easily it is to make any habit. Hint in the corner. We also lack physical activity during the day. In 1970, only 20% of people worked at a desk. Now that number has increased to 70. They work sitting down. We go home and sitting down again. The same goes for schools. Students sit in class all day, then they go home and immediately sit down to play games. Scientists have long proven that immobility is more harmful than smoking. So the best rest after a day of sitting is a powerful workout. Studies show that basic physical activity helps people eliminate decades of chronic fatigue. Our psyche also needs to be unloaded. There's several ways to do this. One of them is when we don't observe or communicate with anyone, just do nothing. It is also desirable to be in nature. Other people can choose cleaning in silence without music, or doing their favorite hobbies, but without gadgets. For example, play modeling or painting. In conclusion, I want to say that modern man suffers from an endless flow of information, and trying to relax in the ways that are forced upon us, we only get more tired. Movies, games, and serials are not rested. They are a source of easy dopamine. There's nothing wrong with them, as long as they don't replace the rest. We don't give unloading to the systems that need it most. Don't neglect rest in any way, but rest properly. And I wish you to finally start resting. Well, and more we will dissect in other videos. Link to studies in the description. More information on the video on my Telegram. Subscribe to the channel, like and share this video with friends. And remember, no retreat and no surrender.